Imagine, it's 1979. You're sitting in a dark room in North Carolina. The only light comes from a flickering green monitor. You type a message, hit enter, and nothing happens. No like count, no instant reply. But somewhere, miles away, a machine is waking up. It's calling another machine. They are whispering about you in the dark. This wasn't just a newsfeed. It was the first time humanity realized that once you upload your soul to the wires, you can never truly untake it back. This is the birth of the first social layer. This is USENet. Before we talk about the network, we have to talk about the silence. In 2026, we take connectivity for granted. You are never offline, unless you choose to be. But in 1979, the digital world was a series of silent, disconnected bunkers. The ARPANET existed, but it was a walled garden for the military and the hyper-elite. If you weren't at MIT or Stanford, you were a ghost. You had a computer, but it couldn't talk. It was a calculator, not a communicator. This created a specific kind of intellectual loneliness among the grad students at Duke and UNC. They saw the potential of the Unix operating system. They saw that these machines had a personality. They just needed a bridge. This bridge wasn't built by a corporation. It was built by two students, Tom Truscott and Jim Ellis, who were tired of being left out of the conversation. They didn't have high-speed fiber optics. They had plain old telephone service, POTS. They realized that if they could teach one computer to dial another computer's phone number, they could create a handshake. That handshake was UUCP, Unix to Unix, copy. Let's get direct about the technology, because the technology is what created the Vellum of our social history. UUCP was a store and forward protocol. In 2026, we expect data to flow like water. In 1979, data flowed like a bucket brigade. The logistics of 1979 were primitive. You would write a post, your computer would store it on a physical disk. Then, at a scheduled time, usually 2 or 3 a.m., when the long-distance phone rates were the cheapest, your computer's modem would physically pick up the phone line and dial a neighbor's computer. The two computers would handshake. Your computer would dump the bucket of messages into the neighbor's computer. Then, it would hang up. The neighbor's computer would then wait for its own scheduled time to dial its next neighbor. The human consequence was profound. This meant that a conversation between North Carolina and California took days. Think about the psychological weight of that. You couldn't troll someone in real time. You had to wait 48 hours just to see if your insult landed. This delay forced a specific kind of depth. People wrote long, sprawling essays instead of short bursts. But it also meant that the network was incredibly fragile. If one computer in the chain, one link in the Pony Express of data, went down, the entire social layer for that region died. We call these erasures. Entire weeks of human conversation are missing from the 1979 archives because a single modem in Ohio caught fire, or a janitor unplugged a server to vacuum a rug. As more universities joined this poor man's ARPANET, the chaos became overwhelming. You couldn't just read a list of every message sent in the last 24 hours. You needed a map. In 1981, they formalized the Usenet software, and with it came the most important psychological invention of the digital age, the thread. The social layer's spine was a references header. This was a piece of metadata that told the machine, this message is a child of that message. This changed human cognition. For the first time, we could see the evolution of an argument. We could see where a conversation about operating systems branched off into a conversation about the meaning of life. They organized the void into newsgroups: Comp. for computing, Sci. for science, Rec. for recreation, Soc. for social, and Talk. for the high conflict debates. These weren't just folders, they were digital tribes. In the Soc groups, we see the first digital romances. In Sci, the first crowdsourced breakthroughs. And in Talk, we see the birth of the flame war. Why do we fight online? Because in 1979, we removed the face. On Usenet, there was no body language, no tone of voice. There was only text. This created the digital disinhibition effect. We see the first flame war in the early 80s. Two researchers argued so fiercely over a technical standard that they began attacking each other's families and intelligence. They didn't realize that the void brings out the monster in the machine. To fix this, Scott Fahlman proposed the smiley face in 1982. It wasn't cute. It was a desperate attempt to stop people from killing each other over a misunderstanding. By the mid-80s, Usenet was no longer a student project. It was a global superpower. But it was expensive. The backbone, the massive servers at places like DEC and AT&T were carrying the weight of the traffic. The people who ran these servers became known as the Backbone Cabal. In 1987, they decided the net was getting too messy. There were too many groups about frivolous things, games, jokes, politics. They wanted to clean the Vellum. They initiated the Great Renaming. They moved every newsgroup into the Big Seven. If your group didn't fit a professional category, the Backbone Cabal refused to carry it. This was the first instance of digital censorship. But the internet doesn't like to be told no. John Gilmore and Brian Reed, the rebels of the era, realized that they didn't need the backbone. They could create their own hierarchy. That bypassed the high church of the Big Seven. They called it Alt. Alternative. The alt hierarchy was a lawless land. It was where you went if you were a hacker, a conspiracy theorist, or someone interested in topics the mainstream deemed inappropriate. This was the birth of the shadow internet. Long before the dark web, there was alt.sex, alt.drugs, and alt.conspiracy. The alt hierarchy proved that as long as two computers can talk, you cannot stop the flow of information. The Vellum was now a battlefield between the regulators and the rebels. This is the most critical turning point in your 20-minute narrative. It's the fall of Rome moment for the first social layer. To hit your 10,000-word density, this section needs to feel heavy, tragic, and definitive. For Marcus in 11 Labs, we want him to sound like he's mourning a lost era. This is the climax of the script before we head into the final conclusion. 11 Labs director script, the eternal September copy/paste. This into 11 Labs, every civilization reaches a tipping point. For the first social layer, it happened in September 1993. For 14 years, Usenet was a village. It was a curated community. It was hard to get on. You had to know your way around a terminal. You had to understand Unix. This barrier to entry meant that everyone on the network was somewhat technically literate. Every September, a few thousand new students would join from the universities. The elders would teach them the rules, the netiquette. By October, the village was quiet again, but in 1993, America Online opened the floodgates. The invasion was swift. AOL gave Usenet access to millions of people who didn't know the rules. They didn't know about netiquette. They didn't care about the history of the packet switch. They brought the normal world into the digital world. The signal was instantly drowned by the noise. The elders were outnumbered, 1,000 to 1. The community collapsed. In the history books, we call this the Eternal September. It's the moment the internet stopped being a community and started being a commodity. In 1994, the first spam appeared. Two lawyers, Cantor and Siegel, realized they could use this social layer to make money. They posted an advertisement for green card lotteries to every single news group on Earth. The users were horrified. They sent so many hate mails back to the lawyer's ISP that the server crashed. But it didn't matter. The seal was broken. The first social layer had been commercialized. The Vellum was now covered in garbage. Today, we live in the era of the Great Erasure. If you go to a library, you can find a book from 1779. You can touch the paper, you can read the ink. But if you try to find the original conversations from the birth of Usenet in 1979, they are gone. The horror of bit rot is this. Digital data is not permanent. It lives on magnetic tapes and spinning disks. Over time, the magnetism fades. The bits flip. This is bit rot. The first digital debates about the fall of the Berlin Wall? Erased. The first discussion of the Hubble telescope? Erased. The birth of the Linux kernel? Mostly gone. We are the first civilization in history that is losing its own origins. In real time, we are building a digital future on a foundation of decaying data. The legacy is everywhere. When you look at Reddit, you are looking at a polished version of Usenet. When you look at a thread on X, you are looking at the 1981 references header. We are still using the tools of the ghosts of 1979. We just forgot who built them. As you sit here tonight, watching this on a platform controlled by an AI, remember the two students at Duke. They didn't have an algorithm. They didn't have a business model. They just had a phone line and a desire to see if anyone was listening. The first social layer is still there. It's buried under layers of HTML and JavaScript. It's the Vellum underneath the World Wide Web. And it's a reminder that before we were users, we were people. And our next case file, we look at the NSFnet, the moment the government realized that the void was too valuable to be left to the students. But for now, the line is dead. I'm Vellum. This was The Void. Good night.